And welcome back to coverage here from Oklahoma City. It's a Grand Prix. It's Theros Limited. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. I'm in the booth with Jacob Van Lunen. We have Willie Edel on the left-hand side from Brazil, not America. And he's playing against Derek Feil on the right. Let's see what Willie has. We know that his deck is a blue-black base deck, though he has an interesting sideboard strategy where he can go to green if he's facing, well, exactly these two colors like we saw him earlier.
Yeah, and against a green-red deck where they have a lot of monstrous, gigantic beasts, siding in those two Sedge Scorpions is going to be pretty good for him. Shipwreck Singer this early in the game is also going to be very strong for him.
Very, very good, though. Good old-fashioned 3-3 for 3 with a Nessian Courser is pretty decent for Derek as well, though the Mowrey's Marauder is going to let him slide right by and get in for some damage here. That's been an interesting one. I still haven't got a great feel for how good that card is. Seems decent, though.
It seems very strong. I think it even might have constructed implications.
Oh, okay. Some type of a combo-y finish or something like that? Or
yeah, no, I'm sorry. I really didn't.
Maybe.
Okay.
Or maybe, you know, even just
I'm just guessing.
cackler strategies, you know.
Ooh, here's a Bow of Nylea for Derek Feil. Really sweet card. One of the rares that I think has caught a lot of attention. So each of the gods in Theros has their tool of the trade, as it were. And this one's for the green god, Nylea. And its bow, it has 4 different options when you activate it for 1 and a green. We could probably get it up on the screen so you guys can take a look. But
probably one of the better
limited
limited cards in the set. I'd say top 5.
Yes, fine.
I'd have to think about that. I'd have to see the other 4 or 5 before, but it's very strong for sure.
The only ones I can really think of that are above it are Elspeth, Ashiok, Blue Kronos, and...
You asked me a question like right after I told you I was blind. I'm like, what's
But the hammer? The hammer's better than that, right?
You think so?
I think so.
I don't think so.
Dude, the hammer.
No way.
What if you don't have any creatures?
The bow, man.
That
If you
thing
have a
doesn't
hammer
do-
and I have a bow, I'm just going to stand on the other side of the room and shoot you, dude.
That's not how that... All right, so let's see how Derek decides to use the Bow of Nylea, though. It's got a bunch of different options, as you can see on the right-hand side of your screen there. You can put a +1/+1 counter on a creature, which I think is its most powerful ability. You can also gain 3 life, do 2 damage to a creature with flying, or do something that basically will never come up, but shuffle some cards back onto the bottom of your library. But making your dudes bigger, very good.
I dropped my card, so you want to call a judge?
And he's going to do 2 damage to a target creature with flying right now. Shipwreck Singer looks like is going to
You say yes to answer that.
wreck indeed here. Oh, maybe we have a play, though. I think Willie wants to use the ability. He says your guy has to attack.
So we're going to both be doing that.
Attacking creatures?
Interesting.
Attacking creatures get -1? Okay.
So does that work?
Not yet.
He activated the attacking creatures get -1/-1. Oh, all right, here we go. I guess it worked because he didn't attack. So there's a Grey Merchant of Asphodel. So that thing is going to be a drain for 3, but it's also going to be shields up for Willie as he's got a 2/4 now, though. That bow, oh, wow.
Yeah, the bow just allows him to just freely attack.
Well, kind of. I mean, he's got 2 good blockers, but there's a Boon Satyr on end step. Now, interestingly, he didn't go for the bestow. He didn't wait. He wanted to use up his mana for the turn and slam down just the 4/2 Boon Satyr, and in they go.
Yeah, and I mean, the bow is just going to make him win combat against the merchant however he pleases. It's just really, really bad.
But can't... I guess with all this untapped mana, it's risky, but I mean, there is a block there with Grey Merchant and Mowrey's Marauder on the Courser, right?
Sure.
Yeah, it's just very risky, and I can see why he didn't want to do it. Now there's an Arbor Colossus to follow up for Derek Feil, so he is just on a roll here, even though... It is time... it's Thassa's Bounty, yeah. So draw 3 Milieu for 3. Not too bad, but it's not really going to help him until next turn when he actually has available mana to use those cards that he's just drawn. All right, so let's see what happens here.
He taught me that.
And it looks like Derek has found a Lightning Strike.
Lightning Strike.
Going to be pretty good for closing this game out.
Right now, Willie looks like he's at 13 life.
I think we can expect Willie's sideboard plan
I punt less.
to come into action again here.
Early never good.
So there was no pre-combat lightning strike here, but all right, here's Bow of Nylea activation targeting the Boone Satyr. Going to get that toughness up to 3 as well. Prioritize that, and it's a nice big hit of 8 damage here. All right, let's see what Willie pulls here. He drew 3 spells last turn, no land drop for him, so he has got a grip of stuff. I think he just drew a land right now, but I guess he could have had one in his hand.
Yeah, sorry.
We've been waiting for like 10
Yeah,
minutes.
do we get
All right, so let's see what Willie wants to do with this
write down? It's like a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, I know it is. Okay. It's actually not as much as
full hand here.
So we're
He's got a lot of cards there, but
I'm sorry about that. No.
I think he's got 6 cards in hand.
Thank you.
You got to feel like he's got a lot of options. Well, that's interesting. He's going to kick things off with an attack from the Gray Merchant, perhaps? Reconsiders that. And we know what this is. A Boran Overlord.
ooh.
And that is a massive beating, though I have to say the Arbor Colossus as a 6/6, and then subsequently next turn he can just monstrous it and just kill the Boran Overlord. He can even, if he doesn't have any great attacks here, he can even wait a turn, do it during the upkeep for Willie Edel so that he can make him sack a creature as well.
It's true.
So he's got some options here. It kind of depends on what the plan of attack is for Derek Feil, as if he just wants to fire that thing off, get the 6/6 out of the air, and just enable a whole bunch of attacks, he could do that too. All right, so let's see what Derek decides he wants to do. He's going to take a look at his draw step first, of course.
Yeah, I mean, he can also just grind away those harpies with the bow and then make the Overlord kill.
I mean,
The
he's
whole
got to be
enemy team.
careful, though. Derek's at 14.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you can always just pass the turn.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah,
he
and do
can't.
it.
Even he could, because he can just use. So he's got to use the bow to put a counter on his Colossus if he does that. But yeah, that's fine. He decides just a monstrosity right now. Take out your 6/6 flyer, and I think he's looking for attacks here. See what he wants to do. Here they come. A 4/3. Yeah, you might as well send that in if you're going to send in the 4/3, right, Jake?
I think so. I mean, maybe not.
He hemmed and hawed, but I think you either just attack with the Colossus or you attack with everything.
Yeah, I think that his
I mean-
opponent's probably just going to Gray Merchant and his token and then triple block the Boone Satyr.
Well, he's at 5, so
So he has to block.
yeah,
He has to block the Arbor Colossus.
right. So he gets to just eat a token for
Yep.
I don't know, if freeze the right word, but he gets to eat a token. Yeah. All right, so kill. You get to keep your Gray Merchant. No land drop here for Derek Feil, so put himself in a nice position here, though, with 2 huge creatures. And sitting at 14 life, he's pretty safe, theoretically.
Yeah, that Arbor Colossus doing a lot of work there.
9/9 with reach. But really, he has 2 lethal creatures here, plus Bow of Nylea can take out the Harpy, which just eliminates another potential blocker. So right now, Willie Edel has to come up with something. He's got a ton of cards in hand and a ton of mana, so it's just a matter of coming up with formulating the right game plan to combat the board that Derek has put forth. Number 1, he's got to get that Colossus out of there at some point, because it is just going to be an abyss for the rest of the game until he does. Now, unfortunately for Willie, though, we can see that Lightning Strike sits in hand for Derek Feil, and I believe he's also got a
Fade into
Mortals.
Antiquity.
Yeah, he's got a
And
Fade
Nemesis Immortals.
Nemesis Immortals, I believe, is the other card there too. Fate of Antiquity could be interesting if Willie decides to play. Oh, maybe like a bestow creature or something like that, and try to rely on it as a blocker. Then that thing can just get exiled.
Those are some good.
This is
does
where a
not
baleful
look good
Eidolon.
for,
Yeah, I mean
for Willie.
Willie's way behind here.
Can I read her?
But this turn is going to be absolutely critical. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana, and this is going to be a Nimbus Naiad.
I see.
And he is going to suit up the Harpy, and that is not good news for Willie. Not at all. Because right now, Derek has the ability to kill both of those creatures.
Yeah, and I mean, he's trying to get it out of bow range, but he doesn't realize that.
Fade into Antiquity is going to just negate that. So depending on what Willie has in his hand, this could be the last turn of the game here pretty easily.
Most likely it is.
Yeah.
And even if it's not, we're getting close. The bow will take over the game on its own if it goes longer. And
No, it looks like he's actually just going to attack here.
I don't hate that.
I don't either. Though
That might be my play.
I don't know. It is interesting. This is a tough spot for him because, I mean, using up that fade into Antiquity doesn't seem too awful either. Then again, Willie has no good blocks here. He has to block both creatures. So he needs to have another spell here to really get out of this mess, but otherwise it's just block, block.
Yep.
All right, there's the block block. So we should see the Bow of Nylea activation get a counter on the Boon Satyr. Okay, go to damage, make a Nimbus Naiad. Now, what does he follow up with here? That's the question. He's got so many ways to deal with all this stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and there's the Nemesis Immortals, and he just keeps presenting more lethal threats here because we know what's going to happen next turn, which is the Fade into Antiquity can take out the Nimbus Naiad. Hell, the Bow of Nylea can do it too. Like, this is just an ugly situation. All right. That's a little better. Pharika's Cure is going to take down the Boon Satyr and buffer Willie Edel's life total back up to 7, meaning that the Nemesis Immortals is not lethal, even with a Bow of Nylea activation. But the Arbor Colossus still is, so Willie still really needing to find a way to commit even more to the board. Interesting that attack by Derek did allow Willie Edel to take care of the creature with Pharika's Cure. If he would have shot and used the Fade, that wouldn't have been able to happen. And Willie just passes. Yeah, so it looks like I mean, you just used the bow to kill the Nimbus Naiad here?
I think so.
Okay.
3/3 defender.
Just minimizing the amount of blockers.
I mean, it's on board, but
So big.
looks like maybe he's lining up a Fade.
Commander Pod number 14, if you sign up for a Commander Pod, it is now ready to start. Commander Pod 14, please report to the event stage.
Yeah, he's just going to use it to take it out because he's got the Lightning Strike backup plan, which makes the Nemesis Immortals lethal, even if Willie were to find a way to bounce, let's say, the Arbor Colossus, and that's going to do it. Willie Edel scoops up. He was behind that whole entire game.
Yep.
Thassa's Bounty,
You deal 4 damage to
pretty slow. You know, that is a card that, yes, you would love to draw 3, and that's pretty sweet, but man, that thing takes its toll on your tempo.
Yeah, I mean, in his deck, it's quite good. I mean, he has things like, double Baleful Eidolon. So if he draws into multiples of those, it's pretty ridiculous.
All right, and here we have on the stack one of my favorite cards in the set, Sea God's Revenge. And there's an Ashiok in play as well for Austin Mowrey. But Travis says, how about we just get all of those creatures out of here? And by the way, I'll scry one.
Show 18, 13.
It's pretty good.
That's a beating right there. That's going to stay on top. Never good news for your opponent. Everything goes at Ashiok. Kills Ashiok. Thassa's Emissary, though, looks like it's bestowed upon the Coastline Chimera. He really felt like he needed to just take down Ashiok there, and then he can start going to work on the life total of Austin Mowrey.
I think that's pretty reasonable, actually.
Agree.
Like, you just don't know what's going to happen, and if your opponent stabilizes at all and they have a Planeswalker in play, it becomes really hard to
Let me
win.
know when
Yep.
you guys are ready
Whereas-
so I can tell him.
If they don't, you'd be live almost no matter what.
Yes, sir. Great.
Looks like he's a little crimped on mana at 5 with all those cards in hand thanks to the Sea God's Revenge plus whatever else he had. He's pulling out a Return Phalanx and a Vaporkin.
Vapor.
Yep.
3rd time's the charm.
He said Vaporkin the 3rd time's the charm. So I think that Vaporkin might have been on the elevator a little bit. All right, let's see
Hanging out in the
what
elevator.
Travis finds here. Go to attacks. Attack with my Coastline Chimera.
Block with it. Sure.
Block with Vaporkin. Triton Tactics,
Oh, nice.
which does not even save it. Right?
No, it does. Doesn't it? Oh, no, it doesn't
What am I
save
missing?
It,
It should
It
die.
doesn't save it.
Yeah,
But
it will keep it locked down for a turn. Not
guess
particularly exciting.
not very relevant.
No, I mean, but I think with that many cards in hand for Austin, he's happy to just play a spell that does something here and keep a little bit of the pressure off of his back. Omen Speaker.
2 cards in, right? 3. Yeah.
Oh, man. 2/2 lifelink flyer coming down for Travis here.
I didn't play this one. I was hoping for this one.
Yeah, that's an insatiable harpy there. So pretty nicely built out board here, but Austin's got a ton of cards in hand. I see he's got a Voyage's End, and he's going to play Fate Foretold on his... ooh, and he hit exactly what he wants.
Oh, yes.
So now you have 4 islands and 2 swamps, right?
That is correct. Let me think first.
Seems pretty good.
1813 still, right?
Yes, sir.
This is going to be interesting. These are absolutely critical decisions, right? If he if he screws this turn up, then it cascades down the line of like, well, if I would have done this, and then I would have still had this, and things get kind of out of hand in that way. That's an Agent of Fates. Ooh.
Things might get a little bit crazy.
This could get crazy. Agent of Fates is kind of a sweet rare.
Yeah, now it has heroic, and whenever you target it with one of your own spells,
yes,
your opponent has to sacrifice a creature.
Yes.
Which is just absurd.
Which is really sweet, and on top of it, it's a 3/2 with Death Touch. For 3 mana.
That's
Card's
got to be
really
one of the better
good.
rares in the set.
I really like that card. Goes particularly well with blue as well, so very nice. Here comes Insatiable Harpy. And I got to say that even though it's felt like Austin's been pretty far behind here, it feels like he's actually in an okay spot. He only took 2 there. There's another Felhide Minotaur, but the return Phalanx is just sitting there brick walling those Minotaurs. Wow. Another swamp, exactly what he wanted again. Now he's got a lot of options here. He could go for yeah, we're going to stay on this match for a moment.
I mean, he could do a lot of different things here.
Keepsake.
That's
like
a keepsake
this play.
Organ. You like this play?
I do.
Because he's
He
going to
gets
be able to leave
Voyages
Voyages in? Okay.
Yeah.
5 BP. Go.
I like that too. I mean, because the other play he can make, or a play he might make down the line, is the fastest emissary hitting up the Agent of Fates. There's an edict right away. I mean, sure, the Omen Speaker probably just bites the dust, but we'll take it. All right, and here comes Voyage's End, your Chimera. Scry 1 leaves it on top, and fastest emissary comes down with the clackety clack of its shell onto the ground.
Yes. No, 14, 15. Oh, no, I can't see life. It's so dumb.
Looks delicious. That's emissary.
You
Biggest
monster.
crab I've ever seen. I just want to eat it.
Like, out of order, I mean, correct.
I just need a really big pot. Bubbling cauldron.
You know it has a name.
Oh man, we could have a clam bake in the standard format.
Jeez.
Yep.
All right, and there's Coastline Chimera coming back, this time all by its lonesome. And I really like that Austin seems to be in a pretty good position here.
Yeah, he's on the comeback trail. He's recovered nicely from Sea God's Revenge, which is not an easy thing to do.
No.
He kept his life total at 14 through all of that.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
So he's got Keepsake Gorgon that has not had its monstrosity used yet that he can use whenever he wants. He's got a lot of sweet options here. What is that one?
Ooh,
What
my
was that?
goodness. It's Hythonia the Cruel.
That's Hythonia the Cruel? No.
As we said, have a lot of
and she is very cruel.
Yeah, Hythonia the Cruel is a mythic rare.
Yes. And when she becomes monstrous, you destroy all non-Gorgon creatures. And conveniently, Austin has a Gorgon
He does.
in play that is not yet monstrous that destroys a creature.
And her monstrosity is 3. So she becomes just huge.
Yeah, she becomes a 7/9.
So do you think that Austin's game plan now is just to activate Hythonia and just
Yes.
use his 2 creatures and just
Yes.
say, heck with it, Agent of Fates, you can just go away? Okay. He'd also get another card from Fate Foretold. Value, that's nice. All right, so let's see.
You get to draw a card and Plague Wind. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Is that a Vanquish the Foul? He is going to Vanquish the Foul on Hythonia.
He definitely is.
And Scry 1.
Now it's my attack.
No, he missed his Scry. I don't know if he's allowed to, but I guess it's just assumed that he...
Do I have to?
He has to. That's not a trigger. That's a.
All right, so it's part of the spell they decided, and he reveals a Farika's Cure, which he decided to keep.
It wouldn't be 7-0 if they didn't change that rule. My opponents have missed at least.
Yeah, I mean, the Agent of Fates
That one's not a trigger.
is
Yeah,
kind
I
of
know.
like this looming disaster for him, right?
So.
The Agent of Fates.
What about it?
Yeah, no.
He needs to be able to deal with it.
Am I getting a warning for that?
Eventually, yeah.
So Freakus Cure
I mean,
seems
you-
like pretty good.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
19.
You know.
Oh, you're talking about from the Scry. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. He has no cards in hand now, though, so it's really up to Austin what he wants to do. He can monstrous his keepsake Gorgon, or he can go for the big play.
I think bestowing on Agent of Fates is probably right here.
It's pretty sweet. I mean, it does only get the Omen Speaker out of the way, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it also. I mean, it also just makes something that you can start attacking with, and your opponent still can't really attack you back. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it turns the tides in the Abyss game, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Also, it plays around Freaka's Cure. I don't know that that's a huge priority for Austin at this point, but it's a nice upside.
Yeah, there's no way he can know that his opponent has that, but...
Decisions.
This is interesting.
Is he attacking?
So he's attacking with that.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense, right? Oh, no, they're still fast as Emissary, though even then, remember, he can activate that monstrosity whenever he wants.
I think that 2/5 is really good on defense right now.
He's just going to pass the turn. So that means that he has committed to activating his keepsake Gorgon this turn, which means that the Agent of Fates very well could bite it.
Probably will.
All right. Wow, you see him tap the two swamps and then immediately take it back. Here he goes. Oh, he gasped in disappointment there. Gain a couple. He says attack with everybody. Wow, with no cards in hand.
Walking past this emissary with my keepsake.
Wow, that's a
One of the Minotaurs.
kind of a crazy attack there, right? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, he's going to put Austin down to 5, but...
he's going to, I don't think he's even going to do that though, right?
Oh, no, he's not. He's
No.
just going to put him down to 7.
And kind of lose three creatures in the process here?
Yep.
And all the while kind of throwing one of them away too?
Yeah.
That was a risky,
It was a very
ambitious
risky move.
attack. Now, maybe he's got something that I don't know about in that deck, something with like a couple of Gray Merchants or something that he's hoping to top deck in a row. He could definitely see that he was falling behind, but now all of a sudden the board looks pretty sweet for Austin.
Yeah, that was a pretty crazy attack.
Yeah, it was insane. Is that a Read the Bones there that Austin's drawn as well?
It is.
He's going to want to be a little careful with his life total. Read the
Yeah.
Bones does make you lose 2. I mean, you've got such great plays in your hand. There's really no reason, right?
I don't think he's going to go for... Whoa, okay. Yeah, when my opponent attacks me all out the turn before, it's pretty rare that I'm going to be willing to spend 2 life the next turn.
Yeah, I mean, he knows he's top decking, though, and he knows he hasn't scried
guess you're
anything to the
right.
top, so it's like random card off the top.
Oh, is that an Ashiok? Oh, no, it's another Shipwreck Singer.
Insatiable Harpy.
Got him.
Shipwreck Singer.
All right, Insatiable Harpy, Shipwreck Singer, and he's even going to get a scry out of his temple. His opponents, or maybe not his opponent, no, he was actually kind of, he said, I even got the on-color dual land.
It's pretty nice, the on-color duel.
All right, what did he draw? Was it another Thassa's Emissary? No way, right?
Yeah, that's why we're in this situation.
Looks like Austin has the Thassa's Emissary here. This is still game 1?
I believe so. Yeah, it is. I just had to see how this thing ended. It was such a solid comeback from Austin.
Yeah, it really was.
And now he looks to be completely in the driver's seat. Though he hasn't actually started attacking yet. There's a 2-1 flying first strike. Not too bad against the Insatiable Harpy, but I don't think that's going to last long. And he drew a Cavern Lampad, I believe.
Yeah, so I think he's just going to bestow onto his flyer.
On his Harpy?
Yeah, I mean, it has lifelink.
Right, and it can't be blocked. Or actually, it can be blocked, but not very well.
His opponent has no cards in hand.
Yeah. He does have one colorless card that can block at once. Yeah, why don't we switch back over to game 3 for the other one? I really think that Austin's going to be able to finish this off. We'll keep an eye on it. And it looks like we're going to get the audio from their match continued. All right, so this is the game 3. Yeah, Willie Edel on the left versus Derek Feil. Willie Edel is the 6th ranked player on the top 25 pro rankings for Magic. Derek Feil is not the 6th ranked player, but he is 7-0.
Which is not easy to do. Willie, as we see, has sideboarded green into his deck. When we saw him in game 1, he was a black-blue deck.
That's right. And we saw him do this on camera earlier against this exact same color pair to great effect.
Yeah, it worked really well for him before.
And there's Erebos' Emissary for Willie Edel. Really nice stabilizer here. Remember that that Raider has to attack every turn, doesn't have a choice, and there's no black for regen, so it's all about combat tricks, but you got to figure Willie has a creature he can toss or something. What do you expect to see? Is there going to be a block here?
Definitely. I think Willie recognizes himself as the control in most situations.
Yep. Ooh, Coordinated Assault, though, is going to give first strike and +1/+0 to both creatures. Though, if Willie wants to discard a creature card, he can make his Erebos' Emissary a 5/5. But it starts to get a little risky here. You can see
reasonable.
You can see Derek kind of thumbing the cards. All right, he says, sure, this resolves. Now the priority goes back to Derek, and he says, I'm going to discard my Baleful Eidolon to my Emissary in an attempt to eat your creature. And that's exactly what happens. So Willie Edel's only going to take 4 this turn, and he's going to be in a pretty good position now.
Yeah, it seems like that's about to change, though, because there's a Bow of Nylea on his opponent's hand.
I see that. He's going to wait, but Bow of Nylea definitely going to do some work. That's a Keepsake Gorgon, I believe.
It's a pretty good one.
It's a shiny Keepsake Gorgon at that.
I have no effect.
And there it is, Bow of Nylea. He's definitely cast it here on turn 5 where he can actually activate it, though he also has Boon Satyr in his hand. Not a bad combat trick in and of itself.
Definitely not.
So he's going to attack with both. So what does this mean to you? That he has something other than Bow of Nylea, right? He's got something like Savage Surge in his hand. I think he does. Is that a Savage Surge there? He's got to have something.
It seems like kind of a crazy attack.
This is insane. What? Even if he has a Savage Surge. That doesn't do anything.
Well, all his guys have Death Touch because the Bow is the most absurd card in the universe.
Right.
Yeah.
I always forget about that part.
Yeah, that part's pretty good too.
Jeez.
Definitely better than the hammer. Come on.
I like the hammer better.
In limited?
Yes. You don't need anything for the hammer to win. You need creatures for the bow to be good. All right, and there's a Leaf Crown Dryad. I might be to follow up. And Farika's Cure is going to instantly end that. And there's a 3-drop. It's maybe the worst possible card in this situation. It's Guardians of Miletus, but since all his creatures have Death Touch, it's just gonna block once. But no creatures currently.
Yeah, none on the board.
How smart am I right now? I know, really smart, right?
You're the smartest.
Thank you.
Of all.
He didn't play the guy. That is a Boon
like
Satyr, is it not?
It is, in fact, a Moon Satyr.
I guess he just figured, well, it's just going to end up trading with that Sedge Scorpion, so why bother? He can use it as a combat trick still. Although he did have to draw that Perforos' Emissary to make that happen. And I put a counter on my Emissary. That Scorpion does so much work in matchups like this.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
What did he draw? What is that foil card?
The
what is that?
Vulpix. They're the
the Vulpine Goliath?
The Vulpine Goliath?
Yeah, you're right. The big fox.
Yeah.
All right, 6/5 with Trample. And we all know how well Trample and Death Touch work together. So this could get very ugly here for Willie Edel. Thanks all to the Bow of Nylea. Card does work. There's no doubt about that. And, yeah, I'll make a Vulpine Goliath of my own. Not bad.
Definitely not bad.
Unfortunately, the Boon Satyr in Derek Feil's hand is going to do disgusting work in conjunction with his own Vulpine Goliath.
Yep.
That's Nylea's Disciple, I think. He's going to gain a bunch of life. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 life.
28 here.
Yeah, which isn't obviously...
I'm surprised he just keeps passing, but...
You must want to try to wait. Because the thing is, if he attacks with the Vulpine Goliath, it gets interesting. Because if Willie, who's at 18, decides to block with his own Goliath to try to save some damage and still trade, then he can just get destroyed by Boon Satyr.
Mm-hmm.
But if he blocks with the Scorpion and takes the hit, then Boon Satyr doesn't destroy him. Still does good work.
Oh, definitely.
But not the same level. All right, now they're all coming in. Ship ye old team. And Vulpine Goliath's going to jump in front of the 3/3, and then we do need to see a double block here on the Perforos' Emissary thanks to its special ability. That's exactly what happens. Just so he's deciding if he wants to just activate Bow. He's going to do that for sure. Put a counter on Vulpine Goliath, and he just says sure. What do you think about that?
I would just jam the Boon Satyr.
You have reached the time where it's go time?
Yeah, I mean, I just really like having 12 power trampling creatures. It's just
something
this thing I have.
With Death Touch?
Yeah.
that sits well with you? All right, so that's going to do it. Willie Edel didn't. Derek Feil won that one, though. Well, just for those of you looking at the graphic, that was actually Derek Feil 2-1 over Willie Edel. Willie is now unsideboarding, but he's still 7-1, looking to be in good position, and Derek Feil is undefeated. I think we might get a game 3 of our other match. He's going to check. It might actually be a game 2, which would be kind of interesting.
Oh, wow. So it took a while longer for that first game to finish, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, we did note there that Austin Mowrey wasn't really in a position to start closing out the game. He just seemed to be fully in the driver's seat at that time. But you know how it is. You got to – sometimes the tide turns slowly before you actually get to start beating down.
Yeah, these guys might even struggle to finish the round. Well, it all depends. Austin may win a game quickly.
Yeah.
Travis,
we are going into game 2, so confirmo on that.
Yeah. And this is by far the longest match we've seen then so far today. This format has proven itself to be very fast in terms of match length.
Mm-hmm. It really has. Big swingy plays in Theros, you know?
Definitely.
You make a monstrous creature, and it asks a pretty pertinent question pretty quickly once it happens. You bestow something big, and it's like, yeah, hey, you got to answer it. Yeah, heroic is fast. Yeah, once it gets to that point in the game, these decks certainly are good at posing questions. All right, here we go. Game 2. Game 1 was a drawn-out affair, but a really cool one. We got to watch most of it, where Austin finally stabilized and was able to take over.
Yeah, Austin's going to send this one back. He can't keep a one-lander.
His deck looked like it was quite mana-hungry.
Definitely.
I wouldn't be shocked to see if he's running 18 lands. I also wouldn't be shocked to see that he isn't.
I think I'd like 18 here.
He's got 17. He's got 17 and a 16 in basics and a Temple of Deceit, which is helping him out, smooth out those land draws a little more.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Temple of Deceit's a very good card. Scrying off a land, it's just pretty unfair.
You've been testing for Standard, for
Yes.
Pro Tour Theros. How good are the Scry lands in Standard?
I think they're really, really good.
Okay.
I think they're especially good in control strategies.
Okay.
The Esper deck gets access to 2 of them, which is really good. I mean, the cards like Supreme Verdict are cards that are, super high variance. They're either the best card or the worst card you can draw in most situations. And the fact that you can constantly be looking at the top of your deck and saying, okay, is this the time where I need a counterspell, or is this the time where I need a Verdict, or when I need a Tension Sphere? And you can just mold your draw steps so well. They help you find lands. They help you hit land drops. The way these control decks usually lose is because they miss their 4th land drop. Because that's the key land drop kind of to hit.
Sure.
And that's not going to happen nearly as often when you get to play with, however many temples they're playing, which is anywhere in the range of, 4 to 7 right now.
Okay.
But I think it's definitely worth it to make your mana base in such a way that you don't have to run the Azorius Guild Gates, any of them, if you're going to be Esper, and you instead get to play with blue-black temples and black-white temples. I think those cards just have way too much value in a control deck. In other colors, I think you can be a little more lenient with that type of thing.
Sleeve down. Could I get a replacement sleeve for that island there?
One last round and 3.
Yeah, players need to make sure that they're keeping the pace up here. They're sitting at, not that they could help a broken sleeve, but it's they're at about 10.5 minutes left on the round clock. They might have a little bit of extra since we had to set them up in the feature match area, so typically that'll add a couple minutes. At least sometimes it will, but you've got to be careful here as it looks like. I mean, they're both blue-black, so it's just kind of grindy mirror, it looks like. They're very chatty. They're talking to each other throughout the whole time, which is a nice thing to see,
Yeah.
But got to get some business done here too.
Yeah, and I think Travis right now is probably getting a little bit nervous with 10 minutes left on the clock now. He is having his opponent mulligan yet again, and he's down a game. So
No, they're just talking about their decks.
about their decks.
Yeah, just like, the power level of my deck, and theory, that kind of. They're just having a normal, what you'd
cool.
find like a normal Magic chat.
That's good.
Yeah, it's nice to see that. Even you get to the feature match area, feel a little extra pressure, but they're still relaxed enough just to have a friendly chat while getting the shuffling and stuff done that they need to do at the same time. So I always find it funny when you see people chat like this, and then once the game starts, it's dead silent. That not true of these two, but I have seen that quite a few times.
I mean, I'm pretty chatty in between games, and once I'm playing a game, I don't really talk to
I don't
anybody.
talk either, yeah. All right, there's 3 non-lands and a swamp. Man, this is going to be rough. This might be a mulligan here. He might just say, heck with it, I'm going to go for it, but he's really... He's going to go down. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to, though.
That hand just didn't have anything going on.
I mean, it didn't have a play till turn 4, and then it had one land.
Yeah. Well, I think he had Agent of Fates in his hand.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought
with
that was
one
the Cavern
swamp,
Lamp.
you might be right, too. But either way, yeah, just not a lot going on. So this is going to be interesting because Travis, you know, he's going to feel like just starting off here, he's got Austin Mowrey on the ropes, right? I mean, he's like got his opponent down to a mull for 4, and he's going to want to – the question, though, is can his deck get a quick kill? Let's just say he has like a reasonable opener. Is his deck aggressive enough? I think it is. You know, he's playing Fellhide Minotaurs, cards that aren't really that great, but into an empty board, they get the job done just fine.
Oh, definitely. I mean, at this point, with an opponent mulliganing to 4, it's like you cast Opportunity before the game started.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. I mean, how many games have you ever won in your life when mulliganing to 4?
How many games have I won when mulliganing to 4? I don't know. It's probably like 2, maybe. I'm just guessing.
I think I'm at like 1.
Yeah.
You know, and I've been playing since like 1995. So.
Yeah, it's just extremely rare. Yeah. All right, he's got a keeper here. All right, there's his one land. Now, we're going to be keeping an eye on his land drops and see how that goes, but the real action is on the other side of the table as Austin draws a 5-drop to see what kind of pressure Travis can come up with. There's 7 minutes left in the round. He has to beat him. He has to kill him twice in 7 minutes. That's going to be really tall order, so he might just be playing for a draw here.
Looks like
it's happened, though. I mean, these things do happen, but Cavern Lampat, or excuse me, Nimbus Naiad, but that's not going to do anything. And there's a Fellhide Minotaur, perfectly fine card here to play in lieu of any other. Yeah, he's no third land drop, and there's a swamp, but no play, I don't think. Oh, he does have a play. Fate Foretold to draw a card, but he's got to put it on his opponent's creature. Hey, you do what you got to do here.
Yeah, I mean,
this is not a time to get.
Land.
Wow.
Woof. Wow.
I mean, sure, if the creature dies, your opponent would draw the card, but heck with it. It's not like it buffs the creature. You just need to get cards in your hand.
Already has all the cards.
Yeah. All right, well, Thassa's Emissary is going to hit the table for Travis, but Austin drew Voyage's End, so he can keep the heat off him for a little bit and maybe scry into a land. Wow, there's all right, so here we go. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Voyage's End, your Thassa's Emissary. Scry 1. If he leaves it on top, you know he's hitting a land.
Yep.
And replay the Emissary. Say go. Agent of Fates. So that's why he saved it. He had Agent of Fates in his hand, and I think he just looked at it and said, look, the only way I'm going to win this game is by going off with Agent of Fates. And Pharika's Cure puts an end to that. Game over. And are we actually going to get a chance to get a game 3 in here? 5.5 minutes left on the normal round clock. Again, there could have been some time added because of the feature match. Because the way it works out here at the GPs is you get announced over the loudspeaker while everybody else is shuffling to their normal seats and trying to get their pairings. And sometimes you've already sat down and you have to kind of pack up and get over. So they'll usually give you a little bit of breathing room with a couple of minutes, and because we have to get you set up in the feature match, but still you don't get that. It's not going to be 10 minutes added or anything crazy. So at just under 4 minutes, these guys really need to make sure they get their mulligans going, and we're going to see a second pile shuffle here from Austin. They're still chatting, by the way.
They're still just talking.
Oh yeah,
naturally?
just yakking
so they
it
know
up.
That they're short on time?
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe a judge should.
I do not know if they know.
That's possible.
Do you know what kind of time extension they have, Rusty? Okay, they do have a time extension.
Okay.
So we're gonna see how long it is. Huh? All right, so they actually have basically a 7-minute time extension, which means that from right now, they have 11.5 minutes. So they could realistically start this with no mulligans at about the 10-minute mark, which is plenty of time to complete a game of Magic.
Definitely.
They are going to have to play crisply, though. There's not going to be a lot of time for fussing around, and if somebody mulligans to 4, that could eat a lot of that clock away, too.
Definitely.
I went into it not wanting to play black.
We got to watch.
I think we have a friendship here. Maybe they're just friends. They might
brewing.
just know each other. They're talking about, oh, I didn't want to go in playing black. It's just funny.
I'm sure they're both happy about their choices at this point. They're both 7-0.
Yes.
Just played 55 cards.
On the play, right?
All right, keep for Austin. Let's see if Travis has a similar one. It looks like he does. I saw 2 lands at least.
He has the Phalanx on turn 2, and he has a Mnemonic Wall, which is kind of multiple cards and like it rewards you for the flood, if anything. I think you keep this 5-lander. I don't think you can really mulligan.
Okay. Just under 10 minutes to go in the round here. He's going to mulligan it. He's going to take the time to look at those next 3. They got to tighten this up. Really be ashamed to get a draw at this point. I don't think really any player's excited about a draw here.
I mean, but you never know the player's mentality coming into the GP either. Like they might
a good
both
point.
just be very happy that they made day 2 at this point.
That's a very good point. You absolutely could be right about that.
I'm actually pretty surprised by that mulligan.
He's on the draw as well. So, you know, he was going to see some more cards for sure.
I mean, he had the 2-drop, and you have to trust your deck to give you a little bit of gas, right?
You're required to shuffle.
Am I allowed to just cut?
But yeah, I'll consider that.
So cutting's okay? I know when I played, last time I played the GP, it was like 2.5 years ago.
Shuffling is obviously to your head.
All right, so they have to mulligan again. Unfortunately, I just heard Austin say the last time he played in a GP was a couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It is in the Magic tournament, but it's not awarding.
The topic of discussion now, whether you have to shuffle your opponent's library after it's been presented or if you can just cut it. And at this rules level enforcement, you actually have to shuffle it.
You do have to shuffle
Yeah.
it.
You don't have to pile it all out and give it, 15 riffle shuffles, but you do actually have to
I think it's
shuffle.
better if everybody shuffles each other's decks all the time.
It is better.
And, people are like, oh, you don't trust? And I'm like, no. If everybody does it to everybody, then everybody can trust everybody and there's never any question.
Agreed.
It's just very easy,
Yes,
know?
I think this is the correct way to have the rule. It also
Nobody
takes a
ever
fraction
has
of a
to
second.
nobody ever has to be worried that anybody else is stacking a deck because everybody is shuffling everybody's deck.
Yes, it also disincentivizes people from even doing it, from
Yeah.
stacking, because well, they're just going to shuffle it anyway. What's the difference,
Yeah.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see if we can get a keep here for Travis as we're 30 seconds away from time in the round. He's got to mulligan this. And unfortunately, this could end up being similar to the game 2 that we just saw. But I do have to say that this still could definitely end in a draw because Austin Mowrey's deck doesn't have a lot of super aggressive starts. We didn't see 2s and 3s that were beating down. His deck was much more controlling, Shipwreck Singer and Read the Bones and stuff that doesn't really apply a ton of pressure immediately.
That's definitely true. I mean,
All right, time in the round has just been called. That should put this match at about 7 minutes.
it looks like we have a clock on there and it's at 6:25.
Okay, there you go.
Right?
All right, here's the mold of 4. This is just a keep, right? I mean, do you ever ship your 4-card hand, Jake? I've done it once.
I mean,
I won. It was kind of sick.
congratulations.
Thank you.
That's so sick.
No, I mean, I deserve that. Like, it was
I know
insane.
you do,
Yeah,
you do,
it was totally insane.
I was not being.
Yeah. I mean, of course, everything has to go perfectly for you. I played a 2 and a 3 and my opponent flooded. That was it.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was it. Yep. I played a bear and an Essian courser. At that time, it was a what's it called, courser. But that was it. Just killed him. But that's what has to happen to win on it. All right, here's Freak Secure to kill a Nimbus Naiad. Take 1. Players are playing very briskly, as you can see here. And that is a Cavern Lampad. So again, it's just on your lap. You're fine. Just grab the thing.
That was the card I was drawing. I pulled it off. Okay, that's on it. I'm sure he's not right.
You he wanted to make sure with the judge he could grab the card out of his lap. I like it. That's being extra careful. Here's Ashiok. Hit you for 3. Travis falling down to 17, but here's a keepsake Oregon, and it looks like Austin's happy to just keep the beats going. I mean, sure, he's played a 2-2 for 4, a 2-power guy for 5, and a 1-2 for 2, but that's enough when your opponent doesn't have access to any lands. And here's Ashiok just because why not? Plus it. 2, 3. There's a Benthic Giant. It's a pretty good one that Austin can cast next turn.
Not next turn, the turn after, right?
You're right. You're absolutely right.
I mean, I don't know how much that.
No, I understand, but you're totally correct. Yeah, this game is over, right? I mean, there is no sequence of draws here for Travis.
Not at all.
Okay.
It is virtually impossible.
So
I mean, he's staring down a Planeswalker that's at 7 loyalty.
Yeah, and
Like,
3 creatures. Yeah, this thing's just done. But so Austin Mowrey looks like he's going to be improving to 8-0. Travis, though, still sweet start here. He's going to be 7-1 with one more round to go.
Use the Ashiok to put Abhorrent Overlord into play, actually.
Oh, jeez.
So it's almost it's really a shame that Travis Mulligan that initial hand, because I would have really loved to see it a real game where Ashiok put an Abhorrent Overlord.
I agree. I thought this matchup was super interesting. Oh man, and Austin Mowrey also has Voyages in his hand just because being this far ahead wasn't enough. Yeah, that's fine. This is where the ordeals really, I mean, obviously anything wouldn't be great here, but you must attack to make the ordeals even do anything. And Keepsake Oregon's going to take it down. Still not a scoop. I respect the fact that Travis hasn't scooped here, but yes, this game is very much over for all intents and purposes. Drop Travis down to 2. Making a Born Overlord. That'd be the. Oh. Are you disappointed?
I'm like the most disappointed out of everybody.
Maybe he just didn't want to go for the rub-ins. Either way, he's looking totally fine. Viper's Kiss and extend the hand. So there it is. Austin Mowrey, 8-0. One more round to go here from Grand Prix Oklahoma City.